Good evening. So, about a couple months ago, I was working on this text RPG game in Lua, and really all it was meant to be was to be a bit of a test to make it, and also somewhat of like a framework or something that you could take and you could rename the variables and the locations and the enemies and such. You know, maybe you want to make it like a sci-fi space game in the same format. You could just use this code. You could make that. This one's more based around like a medieval kind of fantasy. I like that one personally. That's no, but anyway, let's give it a shot and let's give it a look through. See how it's made, what it does, how maybe you can make your own. As you can see, it's just nearly 500 lines long, which is not too bad. It isn't finished. I'm not really interested in finishing. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It'll probably be around 700, 800 lines finished, maybe up to 1,000. But anyway, let's play it. So down here we can see it says main menu, number 1 start, number 2 load, number 3 options, and number 0 exit. So if I click 0, it'll go are you sure? Number 1 yes, number 2 no, I'm not sure. If we go to options, excuse me, options number 3, I don't have an options menu. Okay. And do I have a load menu? Do you wish to load your game? Yes, you have loaded your game. We actually do have a load function and a save function, though they are not fully operational. We'll go over those in a minute. So here we are at the hub world. So you start to see the text-based game works on these kind of things. So it's like you get options what you want to do. It's not like Zork where you get to say up or down or whatever. It's more based on number keys. So here we are. What would you like to do? So we got 0, which is game menu, which is save. Would you like to save your game? Yes. Ooh, okay, so it actually exits. But as you can see, we do have a functional save file. It just does. You just can't load from it yet because I haven't made it proper. Anyway, let's go back. Character menu. You're in the character menu. Select an action. Number 1. Let's check our stats. So here we have a stat menu, which is quite nice. Your stats are level 1, experience point 0, 100 HP. That's meant to be MP. Whoops. Back here, we can check our equipment. Okay, equipment breaks. The game as well. I haven't used this for a while, so I've forgotten what breaks and what works. I'm pretty sure, yeesh. Select which spell to use or select your, no, I haven't got a breakpoint in the spell menu by the looks of it. So we have to restart the game again. It's kind of like, I guess if you ever had like a Commodore 64, those things you would just click on and off. It's a bit like that. Anyway, you're in the residential, you're in the overworld. So this is the overworld. Now what does search do? Alright, search doesn't work yet, but if we go to number 1, residential locations. So basically you have adventure locations and residential locations. So adventure locations would be like dungeons and forests and temples and I don't know, caves and whatever, generic fantasy places. And then residential would be like hometown or the local village or something like that. So which do you wish to enter? So let's enter the home village. Again, we can click 0 to exit from you have entered the home village. What would you like to do? So we'll click 0 to exit and we'll go back to home village and we can rest. So you have entered your home village. No, you res in the whoops, you rest soon to be. So we can go to the local bar. Okay, that doesn't work. Now you can start to see some of the programming. How it works is that from home village we went to residential locations, back to overworld. So we're basically just continuously entering different loops. I don't know how bad or good that is for memory, but I really don't think it matters because it's like a text-based game. You can basically heal at the rest location. That's how you heal. You go to general store as well. So you've entered the general store. Select an option. Number 1, buy, sell, talk to owner. Okay, that doesn't work as well. Buy, general store. We can go number 1, buy. Here we go. The storekeeper has number 1, medicinal herbs, which is 2 copper, health potion, basic sword, basic staff. And we'll select number 1. And the amount we want is 1. You don't have enough copper. Oh, whatever. Alright, since we are too poor for this, let's go number 6, exit. Number 0, that should be number 0, exit, or whatever. And go to adventure locations, local woods. Let's go to local woods. Let's click, so we go to explore, character menu, game menu, exit. Where's character menu? Oh, yep, okay. So stats. So let's go number 1, explore. You found 1 medicinal herb /S. It is placed in your inventory. So we'll go character menu, check inventory number 2, and your inventory contains copper equals 0, and it also contains medicinal herbs number 1. You don't know how hard it was to get that working, but we do have it working, and I'll show you the programming in a minute. So what we're going to do, whoops, we're going to fight a wolf. Yes, okay, you'll find a wolf who attacks you. So it's got a functioning battle mode or combat system. So we have number 1, attack, number 2, skills, number 3, magic, 4, items, and 5, escape. Now most of this doesn't work yet. What you can do is you can escape and you can attack. I'm not sure if you can use items, I forgot. So let's attack. So we'll just click 1. And I like how quick all this is. Personally, I wish more RPG games were quicker. So, you attack the wolf for 10 points of damage. Your enemy attacks you for 8 damage. Your HP is 92 and mana is 50. So it just basically prints your resources. Your enemy's HP is 50 and mana is 20. Let's attack him again. So, yep. Hits me again for 8 damage. I hit him for 10. We'll just slowly chip away. And by the way, the wolf's damage is a random... Yeah, it has a random defense value 1 to 3, which is reduction in damage, and then it has a random attack 5 to 8. The reason the math.random is not working is because it doesn't work. It picks one value in the code editor and it does not work properly. I'd have to open a console, like a terminal, like a Linux terminal, and run the Lua program there, which is just, you just type Lua and then space and it's main.lua and that's it. But that doesn't matter. Alright, so here we are, we just picked the wolf. Your enemy's HP is 0 and mana is 20. The enemy has fainted. You've won the battle. You gain 3 copper pieces and 15 experience points. You are in the local woods. What would you like to do? Let's go to the character menu, quickly check stats. Okay, we have 52 hit points. I think I should put those opposite. Maybe have it like 52 out of 100 instead of 100 out of 52. Meaning we can probably beat another wolf. So let's quickly do that so we can get some copper. And do we have any, we have to check inventory, I think, for inventory. We have 3 copper, very good. We get a wolf and we just mash the 1 button. Alright, now we're probably on, 4 HP. So what do? We go to residential, we go to home, and we go rest. And now let's take a look at the character menu. And check stats, 100 HP. And now we go to the general store and we buy 2 medicinal herbs. You gain 2 medicinal herbs. It's placed in your inventory. Let's check our inventory. We should have a bunch more. Character menu, check inventory. Yeah, I have to fix this up. So it displays medicinal herbs as individual items in like a list instead of having like, medicinal herbs times 6 or 4 or whatever. Trust me, inventory management is probably the hardest part of a game. You think making a battle system is hard? No, it's not. let's quickly level up just so I can show you that there's actually a functional level up system. So what we do, we're going to grind. I'm going to mash some keys, so excuse the volume. All right, we're 90 out of 100, so we're really close to, yep, once we beat this wolf, we'll level up. All right, leveled up, here we go. You leveled up, you're now level 2. Alright, sweet. Let's character menu, check stats, and look at that. Now we need 200 experience points. We're level 2, and we can see we have 110 HP and 55 mana. Our attack's going up, our defense, and our magic has gone up. And eventually I can add like a speed or agility stat that'll make it better. But okay, so that's most of the functionality of the game. Now let's check it out in code. Let's exit the game through the actual thingo. Alright, now basically the way I organize this is I have variables, I then have functions, and then I have the main function. Firstly, obviously, is our player. Now in Lua, this is in Lua, you have these really nifty things called lists, which a list can be like a dictionary, it can be an array, it can be essentially like a char array, it can be any kind of list. And if you don't really know what that means, it means that, see how I've got like level equals 1, max experience equals 100. So it's a list of these values. You know, these are obviously variables. A list of variables. It's not just a list of names, right? Of like, it's not just home village, town. It's small town equals small town. Basically, the variable small town equals the text 2 point small town. So when I printed it, it says that 2 point small town. Now, I think you can also do it as in you can just do player, or you can do, I don't think you don't have to declare variables. You just do player, declare it, and you do player.hp equals 10, player.mp equals, I think you can do it that way, I'm pretty sure. This is kind of a quicker way, because at least that's how, if you want to reference it, you do like player.level. That's how you reference it, I'm pretty sure. I haven't used Lua in like months, so I've forgotten. So inventory number, that's like a, yeah, we'll get into that later. Wallet, I probably don't need to put this in a list. Maybe I'll do gold or something. Inventory, of course, is a list. Consumables is a list. It's I guess like the consumable part of the inventory. Equipment slots is a list of lists, so to speak. So here we go, head equals name empty. It's because I also wanted to do stuff like stats, so it'd give HP, like HP equal 10. Let's just say you've got a head gear that has 10 HP, or it'd be like attack equals 10, like 1 or something like that. That was my idea on this. Maybe there's a better way to do it. Honestly, working with lists is kind of a nightmare because you have to learn for loops, and we'll get to that in a minute. And working with lists within list is a bigger nightmare. And I don't even want to get started on a list within a list within a list. That'd be just, you know, painful. Same thing with this. I have the item list. Now maybe instead, it's something easier to do. Instead of having an item list would just to make a comment and just say item list, and then have medicinal herbs equals, and then have a list for this equals, because you want the name, you want to be able to reference the name, so you do medicinal herbs, herbs.name, and you're trying to print it, you know. And you also want different variables, like how much HP does it heal, which I believe would be stored here. I'm actually not honestly sure because I didn't get far enough, but that's what I was thinking. And also amounts. Would I put the amounts here or somewhere else? I don't know. The general store item list. So this is basically all the items that the general store has. You can do that for, you know, any stores. Again, that's one way to work it out. You could just type it out and print it out. Maybe that'd be easier. Spell lists and skill list, I didn't get to those. An enemy, again, similar just to the list. It's got things like its level, how much EXP it gives. You can also do another thing, like just say level times 10 equals experience gained, or like equals copper gained or whatever. Just do some mathematics. It works fine, you know, either way. This is just the way I figured then. And of course, the residential lists, we have a list of locations, variables with things, adventure list, same thing. That's how I worked it out with this. Now here is the main menu function, which is the entrance function. Now the whole game is functionally programmed, I believe, because I don't really get object-oriented programming, if I'm going to be honest. It just seems to overcomplicate things. So pretty much you call up your main function, your main menu function. That's literally what I'm calling. And I don't even think I need this overworld. I'm going to take a look. All right, so within here, this is basically the structure of like everything. Is you've got a function, right? So the end equals this. This is basically like a bracket in other languages, and then it's while true do, and of course the end is there. So infinite loop, while true do just means infinite loop. Print, so we're printing these two. So here we go, start the game. We're in a while true do or infinite loop. We've printed main menu. See here, we've printed these two. And then we have an check, or a main menu check, which equals io.read. This is just taking input, so it's waiting here for me to input a number or something. If check is equal to 1, then break. Now actually what I should have done is I should have put the overworld in here. It should have been then overworld function. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't think about it. Yeah. So whatever. Now, else if number 2, so again, number 1 is start the game. Number 2 is load. So again, I guess it goes from there to there. And from here, the entire game is. There's nothing else there. It's all this functions. You just type keys to get to different functions. So else if 2, then we go to the load game function. And you see, this is kind of how I structured it. I wanted to simplify everything, make it really modular and simple. Again, if we go to number 3, the options menu, it goes to another function. And if we type 0, which is usually the exit, it enters this like miniature cycle. It says print, are you sure? So we'll go 0, print, are you sure? And if exit check equals 1, then OS exit. If it does not, then end, which takes us back to the while true loop, the start. So we have this exit check equals io.read, which is it takes in whatever we click. If you click something that's wrong, like 3, there is no 3. Oh wait, what? Whatever. For some reason that worked. Basically, we have these extra, are you sure's, which is kind of, it's not really a loop within a loop, because if I go like 0 and I type 3, which usually if I typed like 5, which there is no 5, it just re-loops, it just recycles. This one it doesn't, because I didn't put it in the loop. Should I? Shouldn't I? I don't think it really matters. Right. Game menu. So again, same thing with the game menu. If number 1, so it says print, you're in the game menu selection option. Number 1, save. Number 2, load. Again, save game function, load game function. Same here, load game function. We're just calling it in a different menu. If number 3, exit the menu, it is a break. It breaks the while true do loop, the while true loop. So again, a break will break the loop. And same thing with number 0, exit game, which is simply just os.exit, which exits the application. Your character menu, same thing. Check stats function, check inventory. So I'm not writing the inventory system in the main character function. I'm letting it go to a check inventory function. Here's a check stats. How does check stats work? So if we go to start a game, go to character menu, check stats, it prints this out. So it literally just prints your stats are new line, print level equals ... That's how you like link it. It's kind of like plus. Some languages use plus to link a variable. So it just links to player again dot level. So player dot level, and it just does that for everything else. And experience points equals player.exe slash player.maxexp times player.level. So that's kind of how I worked out that. You could do like player.level times 2 or something else different. Otherwise, it's just, you know, level 1 to 100, level 2 200, whatever you want. Simple thing. Equipment is the exact same. I have a check equipment. Okay, it didn't work. Why not? Head. Equipment.head. It failed to find that. Equipment.head. Huh. Maybe I have to, yeah, okay, I think I have to print a name. Yeah, okay, so be dot name, I think. I think that'd be how it would work. So let's just quickly do this. So again, one thing with another thing with another thing. Pretty crazy. Gets painful to work with. Here we go, it did work, yes. You are wearing head, empty, chest, empty, pants, empty, jewelry, empty, etc. We have a discard item function, which has nothing in it. We have a check inventory. Your inventory contains copper equals wallet.copper. Really, I don't need to do that. I could just equals, you know, copper. Probably easier to do that. And then inventory prints inventory table loop. Table.forEach. This is basically a for loop to print yeah, they're called tables, not lists, whatever. Whoops. So table.forEach inventory function kv. Do I know what any of this means? Not really. I'll be honest, I had to look this up. I think I got it off ChatGPT actually, if I'm gonna be honest, probably after a bunch of, like, you know, finagling, and it prints k, which K again here, somehow it's basically printing a table within a table. That's essentially this whole thing is doing, is just printing a table in a table. And then select an item, use item, and then we have the use item and discard item function. I have use item here. Again, some printing table within a table. Not exactly sure what that is. Use item check equals io.read. I think I'm selecting the item and then it's item effect, and I haven't worked this out yet. Table.remove. That's meant to be to remove the item from inventory. It's meant to be to use the effect. So just say if it's like the effect is add plus whatever HP, 10 HP, it's meant to do that. Again, this has not been fully worked out yet. Check inventory could be improved upon as well. Use spell. I have not. Yeah, that's meant to be. I'd have to make a check. So, you know, US check equal io.read. That'll stop that infinite loop. Here we go, function get item. This is when you get an item, and the thingos that it takes is item and amount. So item name, I guess, and amount. And it prints you gain this amount, you know, whatever amount it is, item.name, yeah. And then S, you know, could be multiple, is placed in the inventory, and then it table.insert inventory item. Basically that inserts it into the inventory. It inserts a table, which is the item, because the item is a table or a list or whatever you want to call it. I wish I could just make it a regular variable. Maybe there's a way to do that. You'd have to do a whole lot of like janky ass coding to make that work. It's a lot nicer when you use a table, but it's a lot easier when you probably don't. And of course, this is the item. I have some coding for what it does. Yeah, if player.hp is greater than player.maxhp, then or is less than, excuse me, I think it is, player.hp equals player.hp plus 10. Basically just gives you 10 HP. If player.hp is greater than player.maxhp, then player.hp equals player.maxhp. Okay, so if your HP is less than your max, it gives you 10. If giving you 10, so just say you've got 100, now let's say you've got 99 HP out of 100. It gives you 10, which puts you up to 109, which is 9 more than your max. If your HP is 9 more than your max, it equals, and your HP equals your max. That's the mathematics and how it works. I also seem to have a lesser heal function. I didn't know about that. Basically, it's the same thing, seemingly. It just pretty much uses 10 MP for 10 HP, though I haven't got a functional spell using system yet. I just have some basic mathematics as a spell, and it looks like I have some basic text and some safeguarding. So if your HP equals your max HP, you can't use it. It says your HP is already at maximum, and if your mana is less than 10, it says your mana is too low. Interesting. Okay, the overworld, again, similar. It's just a function which leads to functions by, you selecting things. The residential locations is if your level is over or equals 3, then you gain the residential location small town. If it is 7, you gain, or over, you gain the main city. That's kind of how this works, and the idea was meant to be that you're meant to search these out as well. Is that an if within an if? I think it is. It doesn't need to be, though it is. Let's just, for example, make our level 7 and start a residential location. There we go. Look at this, we've got this nice list, and I'm pretty sure they'll break the game. Yes, it will. So we don't have the rest of those programmed. Let's go back to the residential locations. And then we have this is basically printing if your level is, a certain amount. And then this one is letting you select. So if you click number 1, it'll print home village. If you click number 2, it'll select town. Now realistically, in the future, when I have a bunch of residential locations and eventual locations, what you want to do is to have an assigned level variable and probably number variable that it'll iterate through the table painfully, that incomprehensible programming here. It'll iterate through that, and it'll basically iterate through all the eventual locations or residential locations within the table, depending on your level. And then whatever number you select, whatever RL check, which is a residential location check, equals is what will relate to, just say home village will have a number assigned to 1, and it'll link to that. That's a cleaner way of doing it. This is kind of a more labor intensive way, but it is an easier way to do. Eventual locations is exactly the same. Local woods is just, explore, character menu, etc. Now, what about local woods explore? The explore function, so here it leads to the explore function, is based on a randomizer. So randomly you will either get a wolf, number 1, number 2 you'll get medicinal herbs, number 3 you'll get nothing. So it's just randomly you're finding things. It's different from like a Zork game where you just, or like a another game where you click like up, down, left, right to kind of move around. It's more just randomly finding things. A bit like a D&D maybe. It depends. Again, it actually depends on how your DM wants to play it. Home village. Same thing, rest function, general store function. It's just a function of functions. General store, again, just a function of functions. Same thing, exit, you go back to the home village. I think I tried to do break to break the loop, but I was getting errors. Sometimes you get errors when you do that, so instead it's better to do the previous function loop. Now when you buy, again, here we go, table for each general store list. So it prints a table, and then there's a buy IO. It takes input for whatever you buy. Buy check equals 1, and okay, so it checks if you have the amount of money. You could probably write a function for this times the item amount. Yeah, so just say if you have like enough copper, like 2 copper, and you buy 1 herb, you'll be able to buy it. If you don't, you won't. Then pay, and pay is another function which takes 2 arguments, which is the price, number 2, see copper, number 2, and item amount check, and it says you pay price, which argument, copper, wallet.copper equals wallet.copper negative and negate price. It should technically be negate price times amount, I think. Otherwise you're gonna get free shit from the store. Otherwise, yeah, you don't have copper if you don't have the money. There's a gain copper function. You gain this amount of copper. Again, I don't need to use the wallet. I've overcomplicated it. Rest is simply just player.hp equals player.max. Player.mp equals player.maxmp. It's pretty simple. Save game and load game, which don't properly work. You can make a save file, but it doesn't load it properly. I still have to figure out how to do all the io.output, write, close, blah blah blah, all that stuff. From what I see, it does a check. Do you want to do it? If you select yes, io.output, save file. So basically, it creates the save file txt, and then it writes your level, your experience. Basically it writes your stats and your money. I'd also need to write your equipment and spells and abilities. So basically all the stuff you have, and just say if there's like major quests, all the major quests that you've done, that would be stored in a variable to say that you've done that. And then io.close, it closes the file, I believe, and says your game has been saved. For load, it opens the save file, and basically what I have to do here is to make the variables in this current game state equal the saved ones. I don't know how to do that yet. Figure it out another time. The battle function is where a lot of meat is. So this restores the enemy's HP and mana to avoid errors. I'm pretty sure if I didn't do that, just say if you killed a wolf and then you had to fight another one, it had like 0 HP. I don't know, maybe it does work that way, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, so the battle function's in a while true do loop, same as everything else. It gives you, what do you want to do? It gives you options. Similar thing as the others. If you select number 1, attack, enemy.hp equals enemy.hp, negate player.attack. So if you got 5 attack and your enemy has 5 HP, it's going to lose 5 and be on 10. There is no first and second. You go first all the time because I haven't implemented a speed check. See who goes first, and it's got some text, you attack, blah blah blah. Skill list function, spell list function, consumable function. If you escape, it flips a coin, basically math 1 2, which is like a virtual coin. If number 1, you escape. If 2, you fail, you probably get eaten. Otherwise, this is the enemy's attack stuff. So basically they attacking you, the text.
And then this is stat printing. So your HP equals, enemy HP equals. And then we got death con. If players HP is less than 1, then you fainted, you lost the battle, you go back to the overworld. There's no real lose thinger yet. And if the enemies has less than 1 HP and they fainted, you win it. And then battle end dot enemy takes the enemy as a battle also takes the enemy as a thinger there. Okay, so I have an attack function. I don't think this is implemented yet. I do have a battle end though. Yeah, I'd have to clean that up quite a bit and fix on it. But you know, it's a basic functional battle system for now. Here we go, you gained enemy copper, enemy EXP, and it just gives you the XP. Your player EXP equals XP.enemy XP, gives you the copper, and then it checks for if your experience is greater or equal to max EXP, then player.level is you get a +1. I don't think this one has carryover EXP, or no, actually it does, but the problem is I'd have to fix some things up because otherwise each level is just 100 experience more, which is kind of, you know, unless I like made the enemies lose experience that they give over time, so like negate their experience by their level, you know, like their level divided by experience or something, experience divided by their level, I don't know. You can do something like that. It's either way it works. Anyway, that's it. So really it just needs a lot of refinement, needs some work on a lot of things, and then it would be a functional 2D, I mean one-dimensional, technically two-dimensional, but text-based role-playing game. Isn't that cool? I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna go edit this, well, eventually. Anyway, of course, have a good day. If you want this code, just tell me and I'll give it to you. And have a nice day. Check the links in the description, of course, and goodbye.